And we are live. What's up, good people out there? I see Barry Little. What's cracking with you, man? Barry Little, what's going on, man? How are you? Adrian Kapoy, what's cracking with you, sir? How are you? Grab Second Gear Eddie, what's going on with you, sir? And Samada 66, what's going on with you, sir? How are you? Yeah, man, it's been a minute since I've been on the air, so I don't know how many people are going to tune into this particular topic. But we're going to do what we're going to do. Hurricane Greg, what's cracking with you, my brother? How are you, sir?
They probably had to rub their eyes and see if it's for real.
It is indeed real. Prince Zachariah, how are you, sir? How are you, man? Ryan Matthews, man, how are you, sir? Evo Sosa, sir, how are you? Kalan Mitrell, what's going on, man? How are you, sir? A name I haven't seen before, but Truism, the Storm Crow returns. What's going on with you, sir?
One of our resident conservatives, let's put it that way.
That's all to the good, man.
Okay, all right.
Judah Blues 357, how are you, sir? Jazz Tech, welcome back, GG. Hey, if I had the music, I'd play it right now. Welcome back. Very little again, man. Evo Sosa again. Milton Patton, what's cracking with you, man? How are you, sir? How are you, man? OX Hermes, man. What's good with you, bro? How you doing, man? I was just talking to BGS, man. It's like 30 degrees in St. Louis, man. He said it's 65 there. I told him, fuck you, man. Yeah, he says they complaining about 65-degree weather, man, in California right now.
I had to put on the jacket, man. It was so cold.
Oh, man, fuck that bullshit, man. Fuck that. Alien versus Predator. He says, hey, gentlemen, how are you, sir?
Doing good.
Yeah, man. So it's a little nippy at your nose out here in the St. Louis area, but within the next 5 to 6 days, there's supposed to be some sort of low pressure event in the atmosphere, creating even more cold conditions. I think it's supposed to get to like somewhere around 8 to 10 degrees, within the last few days coming up here, man.
Oh, man, I'm getting cold just thinking about that, man. let me go turn on the heater a little bit.
And I'm a little under the weather too, man, dealing with all these Negroes out here, man, these white folks, man, rubbing noses and getting in, in a herd, which, I'm not really used to. It's been quite a bit of time since I've been around a group of people. And, people are coughing, sneezing, spitting, and wheezing and all kind of crazy nonsense out here, man. Shout out to Barry Little, man. Appreciate that, sir. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that, man.
Couple of coins, okay.
Couple of coins.
Yeah, hit the like button coming in. Go ahead and give us at least give us like a dollar holler, okay?
Yeah, man.
And especially you conservatives, y'all gonna like this one, I do believe. From what I
think you should. I think they should.
Yeah.
Shout out to Barry Little, by the way. I don't know how that appears, man, given, my Wi-Fi connection, but,
It looked pretty good on this end.
Okay, cool. Elijah Martin, he says, The End of Woman, just by that title, this should be interesting. I think it's interesting.
Oh, yeah. I haven't read the book, man. I just purchased her book because I want to check this out because would you say she's like a tradcon?
I think she's a traditional conservative. She's a religious conservative as well. And not from the Protestant angle, I think, but from the Catholic tradition.
Okay.
So I think that it should be interesting. AL11 said BGS ain't shit.
Never claimed to be, sir.
Right. He says, Elijah Martin says, I pray you brothers is blessed. Yeah, we blessed, man.
We above ground, man. Good day.
Yeah, man. We breathing.
Mm-hmm. Let me go out and pour a little libation for the brothers that ain't here.
That's right. Judah Blues 357 says, Oh, he didn't say anything. He just gave a super sticker. Shout out to him, man.
A $10 holler. Okay, that works.
Appreciate that, man. Yeah, he said, did it snow down there? We did. It snowed a day and a half ago. It snowed, but it was so warm that it didn't stick. So, but it did snow. It fucked me up, though, because I walked out of the house, and all of a sudden I saw the snow. I was like, good googly moogly, man. Shout out to K-Line for the hit, man, on the Cash App. Appreciate you, brother. Shout out to K-Line, man.
Facts. Respect.
Respect, man.
Y'all hit the like button coming in?
Yeah, hit the like button, man. Share the video, man.
Yeah.
But I guess we may as well just go ahead and get started with this. We don't want to take too long. I know I haven't spoken to him directly, but Mr. Z, if you're out there, man, you're welcome to come participate, man. Okay? I know you said that to BGS at least, that, you know, if we did this show on this topic, that you'd be willing to come through and offer up your opinion. So
well, he's our female social worker, so the lefty female social worker. So this is right up his alley.
That's right. Shout out to Chaos Rain, man. He says, Green Gorilla, what, you're back, G? I ain't really never went nowhere, man. I really ain't never went nowhere.
Don't call it a comeback.
I've been here for years, literally. Been here for real, for years. Leon, what's cracking with you, man? He say, what's the deal, man? But anyway, we got 71 people here, man. I think we got enough to at least get started on this. So
yeah. The other people have to catch it on the replay. It's a good initial startup. You ain't been here in a while, so yeah. I think they'll flood on in as the notifications come in.
So look, man, let's get this going, man. So this video is about a book written by a woman named Carrie Gress. It's called The End of Woman, and it just demonstrates that, you know, there are people out there in popular culture who are critical of the political movement entitled feminism. So let's hear what she has to say about it, and let's get it going. 17 likes, that's all we got?
No, we got 37 likes.
Okay, man, let's get the likes up to at least 50, man. Can we do that? Can we at least
give them a welcome back. Now we're at 62 now. Okay,
there we go. So let's get this started, man. No, first of all, before I continue running, can we verify that we have audio going?
Put a 1 in if you can hear it. Go ahead and play it.
Okay, cool. Okay, we got audio.
And welcome once again to EWTN's Bookmark. Our special guest author, Carrie Gress, the author of End of Woman, How Smashing the Patriarchy Has Destroyed Us. Published by Regnery Press, available naturally through the EWTN Religious Catalog. EWTNRC.com for all things Catholic. Oh, it's great to see you again.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. It's great to be here.
So,
no, before I begin, you see all things Catholic?
Yep.
Okay, so she's coming from a Catholic theological position, which, you know, some people, you know, have an aversion to traditional religious positions. However, this is a white woman who's written a book, who's being critical of feminism from the position of Catholicism. So
this is the end of woman, not the end of women.
Right.
What's the difference and why is it woman?
Well, I think partially because what we're talking about with what we've seen with feminism is it's kind of this effort to destroy the archetype of womanhood. Mm-hmm. So it's not a matter of killing off individual women, but the idea of woman itself. So that's why we went with woman
and kind of defining what a woman is, right?
Right.
Say it again, white girl.
You gotta jack my line, man.
Right, man. Look, I'm jacking for beats right now. I'm just. I knew you would get a kick out of me saying that, but
oh yeah.
So it's a group of women who basically they're trying to interrupt the traditional archetype of what womanhood is all about. So, and she has some, pushback against that.
Which
Exactly.
is a hot topic.
Very big.
In the beginning, you have a quote from Jordan Peterson: "What you most want to find will be found where you least want to look." Why did you put that quote in there?
Well, partially because I think that so many women have really bought deeply into feminism, and I think that feminism is probably not the answer for most of us. In fact, I can say that pretty emphatically now, having written this book. But where women really will find what will fulfill them and will bring them happiness is being a wife and mother, and those are the things that we've been told we need to shun by the feminist movement. So it was really just the idea of getting behind, getting people to think like maybe I should start looking in other places for that which will really fulfill me.
Right.
Now, right off the bat, she basically asserts that women will be fulfilled in the role of wife and mother.
Yeah.
In that order.
Yes.
But in our culture, I mean, it's all about motherhood, the extolation of the virtues associated with being a mom.
Right.
And the kind of power and the prestige that comes along with that.
Yeah. In the black culture, is mother and child. That's the family, and then the men are extra.
An addendum.
An addendum, yes.
An asterisk. An unnecessary component. It's cool if he's there, but like if he ain't there, oh well.
I don't need no man, right?
Don't need no man. Don't need. Shout out to Andre, man, for becoming a member, man. Shout out to him, man. I thought you were a member already, but man, hey, glad to bring you on aboard, man. Appreciate that, brother. Mrs. KP Bailey said her book drops August the 6th. It's available for pre-order. The End of Woman, How Smashing the Patriarchy Has Destroyed Us. So this is getting some press here.
Okay.
I thought it was already out. But,
I have the book. It's already out. So it dropped
last August.
Last August, yeah.
All right, so let's push through this.
Hester Vaughn Hester Vaughn. Who's she?
So Hester Vaughn was this woman she was an English woman that she came to the United States, and she was lured here by a man that said he was going to marry her, and so she shows up, and he's already married, and she gets a job as a scullery maid or something. She ends up being raped by her boss and becomes pregnant and is thrown out. Anyway, she delivers her child in the middle of a blizzard in New York City in this attic with no windows. And the baby dies, and actually when she was found, the baby was frozen to the floorboards of the attic, and she was then charged with infanticide. So I really told her story at the very beginning of the book because that was important for us to be mindful of just how incredibly difficult women's lives have been and could be and still can be. But I think that, just that kind of
and how
urgency.
vulnerable,
Yes,
you make that
absolutely.
point, they were.
Yeah,
and that
vulnerable.
many of the strives for the women's, quote unquote, women's movement, women for equality and these kinds of protections were perfectly justifiable.
Yeah, no, exactly. So that's what was driving people.
So at the outset, she's not making the case that none of the advancements for women that have been achieved are all in vain. Okay, she's basically arguing that there are or have been a set of conditions in which women have been disadvantaged. And I guess the introductory story about this woman, the anecdote related to her. I mean, she comes to America to marry a man. The man is already married. Then she ends up getting a job. Her boss ends up raping her. And she's forced to have a child, almost like Brenda's got a baby or something.
Yeah.
That's awful. I mean, it just is what it is. It's awful. Okay. So one could argue, I mean, in certain instances, there is a necessary political push to ensure that women have some sort of protections. But I think that, her argument is going to be that, the protection has moved and morphed into something entirely different than what it was originally intended to be. But not even that though. I think, you know, she has some criticisms about the seeds of feminism to begin with, but we have to get to that point. So let me push. I keep pausing. So
You also talk about the fact that in that vulnerability, that in looking at this, they view motherhood making people, women, vulnerable, which it does in some ways because of that.
Sure.
You say feminists have embarked upon a twofold approach. The first step is to help women become more like men, independent and unconstrained by nature. The second is to end the patriarchy. Okay, what is a patriarchy?
All right, so the patriarchy.
I think she's on to something here. I mean, we've said it before. Women want to be like men.
Yeah, they're groomed to be men. You know, they're taught to be men. Not necessarily want to be, but they're taught that way.
So they're taught that there's something weak and undesirable about actually being women.
Yeah, I've talked to so many women that said exactly that they didn't value what women bring to the table.
And shout out to Judah Blues, man. Shout out to him. He just hit me up on the Cash App. Thank you, sir.
All
Appreciate that.
That's that holler. Keep hollering, y'all. Okay.
And so the first thing is, okay, so make women more like men.
Right.
And then also, let's smash the patriarchy.
Yeah,
okay?
which also means make men more like women. So.
And hit them at their knees.
Hit them at their knees. Yep.
Take away their power.
Yep.
And replace it with a kind of feminist power, which is basically women seeking to have the same kind of power as men.
So in other words, just like we did the other day on the Wheel of Time, right? Neuter the men, separate him from the what is it, the force or whatever they call it.
Right, separate him from the one power.
One power, yeah.
And in case you didn't know, we're doing a series on webinar on StreamYard where we're going through this fantasy story called The Wheel of Time. So if you're interested in anything like that, man, come join us. For now, it's free. When we get to the second season, it's going to cost. Not much, just a $5 holler on Patreon. That's it. But at any rate, so yeah, cut men off from their power,
right,
and replace it with a kind of pseudo male power, but that held by women.
Yes.
I don't know how that's just supposed to work, but
in fantasy it does work, right?
Man.
Is really just this old biblical idea of using the gifts that men have, but also recognizing an authority that men have, partially because of those gifts, but because this is the way God has instilled it. But what feminism has done is really turn this on its head, and actually the first usage of it in a negative way came from Engels, of all people. Yeah,
right?
Exactly. So the idea of getting rid of the patriarchy started before that without using the language, but how do we collapse society down into something more egalitarian? And this is, of course, fruits of the French Revolution and whatnot. So
remember, Doc.
Really
hold on, so you can stop it too. Like if you want to say something,
yeah,
stop it.
Yeah. Remember. That's why I asked you to actually go back and actually see where the what is it, the social contract actually started in France. Okay.
Right. The French Revolution, the Enlightenment.
Because I had a feeling that feminism could be traced to the social contract, right? And she's saying the same thing.
Yeah. And ultimately, the whole goal is to reach some sort of egalitarianism,
right?
And to, I mean, this is a religious woman, okay? So she's a Catholic, practicing Catholic. So one of the things that she's going to argue is that God has bestowed men with a kind of traditional and a kind of a decreed hierarchical position of of power and authority. Okay, and that these women don't acknowledge that at all. In fact, I mean, keep watching, you'll see that many of these women were members of the occult. Okay. And they rejected Christianity and adopted occultist practices where they could replace the traditional authority associated with Catholic or even Protestant religious faith.
Yeah.
So let's keep pushing.
That's one of the, we hear this all the time now, to smash the patriarchy in so many different ways. in our own day. But it's
kind of like a
much older.
bogeyman
Yeah.
that's used, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
certain
And
respect.
even you have Kate Millett here. You know, the domination, oppression, the most pervasive ideology of our time, interior colonization, theoretical imperialism. And then you make the point. You say, well, what happens when the patriarchy disappears?
Yeah.
Has it disappeared? Is that what we're experiencing, or
Yeah.
what?
Bruh, black folks know damn full well what happens when the patriarchy disappears.
Oh yes.
Okay? When the patriarchy is totally gone, you excise men from family life, you get chaos.
Yeah.
Okay? So,
Well, I think what we're experiencing is sort of this strange schizophrenia where feminists want to be like men because we've again, feminism asks the question, how do we make women like men, not how do we help women as women within this
Which is a
context
strange
of vulnerability.
question.
Yeah.
Why isn't
Yeah.
it the
Right.
one about how do we make women better women, or women be able to succeed rather
Yeah.
than becoming like men?
Well, I think that's a great question. And part of it, the answer is because we've really idolized the masculine. Because
man, I've been saying that. Hey, look,
Okay.
I ain't gonna say it again, white girl, but
Go ahead, say it. I'll say it.
Say it again, white
girl.
I think the masculine has been deified in this culture so much that everyone aspires to it. And I think that the rules related to feminism is the idea that, you know, you ought to get men to reject masculinity on their own account and to embrace femininity. So that women could more easily practice masculinity
Right.
uninterruptedly.
At a lower level. In other words, or a level that they can actually attain.
Right. So it's like, okay, if we're acting like men and men are acting like women, it creates
Right.
some sort of level playing field.
Level playing, what does egalitarian mean? Equal playing field, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So
Women
shout
wanna
out to
be-
Milton Patton, man. Shout out to him for hitting me up on the Cash App. Appreciate it, bro.
Passport OG said women want to be diet men.
And I think to some degree that's true. Okay. And I think ultimately what she's saying is, and just so you know, I get this straight, Maggie Thompson under the veil basically says she equates womanhood with motherhood, stating that's where happiness is found. And I do believe that she believes that. Okay. You ask the question, what's more fulfilling for a woman? To be a functional and a nurturing mother, or to be some sort of business tycoon? I mean, in contemporary culture, the idea is that, you know, men are having so much fun and they're, you know, exercising power and enjoying it in such a, you know,
a loose and reckless manner. Yeah.
and women want a taste of what men, I mean, because ultimately they kind of have an envy about like men's position in culture and society. And also men aren't tethered to children in the exact same way that women are. So
what did Freud say that women are? Is penis envy?
Penis envy, man. I think that there's a little bit of that going on. Okay. So, you know, a lot of women, you know, feel like being mothers, for those who do, you know, who kind of like pursue careerism more than anything else, they see being a mother as an impediment to their corporate or, you know, their academic or any other kind of success, the financial success. So shout out to Passport OG, man. Appreciate that, man. Says, yeah, shout out to him, man. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. So yeah, let's keep pushing, man.
So it's about
earns
power
money.
in a lot of days.
It's absolutely about power and control. It's also, you know, free love is very much a part of the whole movement, and it's that desire to, by the feminist movement, to let women behave sexually the way that men have, seemingly. So I think that that's another layer of it. So yeah,
So another component, she says, is, you know, the idea that women should engage in free love. Okay, don't be hindered and hampered by traditional sexual mores. Okay, like if you see an attractive woman, go for it. So I mean, you know, I mean, the idea is that you don't have to be demure, you don't have to be chaste. In fact, being chaste and demure is oppressive, right? It restricts your ability to flourish, or it's dominating, meaning that it constricts your choices. Yeah. So
and your behavior.
correct. So I mean, just think about like what's happened in the course of the last 30 years or so. I mean, I see a bunch of gender bending people everywhere, man. Like that I hadn't ever seen before. So I mean, one could argue, like, a case could be made that there are some people in this culture who experience gender dysphoria. Okay. But like the multitude of people who are engaging in these practices now, I think this is more a function of culture than it is of some sort of psychological friction within the identity formation of the individual.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
it's this weird schizophrenia, though, where women want to be like men, but at the same time they're telling men to become like women, and creating all of this incredible tension, for everybody, really.
Right,
And then another thing that's interesting about this is that these women just assume that men have easy access to sex anytime they want it. And I just don't understand why they think this way. Because in fact, a woman can have access to sex much more easy than a man can.
Yeah. Yeah, especially since the advent of birth control and abortion. The penalties are almost non-existent for having loose sex.
Right. But I mean, the idea that there are just like swaths of men who are able to just enjoy and engage in sexual activity anytime they get ready, and that they're loose and that they do anything they want related to their bodies, I just don't think it's actually a fact. I don't think it's a matter of fact about the male condition in general. Right. Now, I think that there's an elite group of men who are able to have access to sex, much more so than others. But I mean, the idea that men as a class, as a whole, have easy access to sex, I just don't see it as being the case.
I think that's an idealized version of masculinity that women have in their heads.
Yeah, it's distorted. I think it's a distortion.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
But he's trying to figure out what roles what am I supposed to be doing? How am I supposed to be acting? Right. You talk about the people behind feminism, the idea of tragic and difficult lives many times when you look into it, especially with often tortured relationships with men. So out of that, you would assume that has impacted their perspective as it relates to the relationship between men and women in general.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, the whole first section of this book is called The Lost Girls, and almost to a one, these women have had some kind of abuse. They've had terrible parents. They had awful relationships with men. It's those kinds of things that I think really can skew our vision. When we know this happens in our brokenness, it's very hard to see things clearly. And so their solution has been not how do we repair these relationships and help women again, but how do we change? How do we break down these taboos that they think are causing the problem instead of being a solution to it? So it's always a move to liberalize things instead of a move to see that maybe the 10 Commandments and things like that could be helpful.
Well, as you point out, in the 70s, women rated their overall.
Well, shout out before I go further, man. Shout out to MC Recovery and Relapse, man. Appreciate the hit up. Appreciate that, sir. He says, been a while, Gigi. I'm working on a stream of Black Men and Boys grant proposal that was won by Dr. D. Grant. I wrote for LA County, MH, YouTube, a stream later of his PowerPoint. Hope my job don't hate on it. I hope not either. But
Yep.
You know how these folks are, man. Yeah, but shout out to that brother.
Keep us abreast of it, man, so we can actually help you out.
Yeah. And, at this section of the video, she's basically saying a lot of these women who pushed for feminism came from family environments that were dysfunctional. And they took the dysfunction that existed in the relationship that they had with men or their fathers and applied it as a universal measure to eradicate weakness and vulnerability in the relationship between men and women across the board. And I think that she thinks that that's not really actually a useful means by which to actually get what women really and truly want. So let's keep. But I mean, again, this whole conversation is tinged with Catholic theology. It just is. Okay,
And it's very conservative. That's what we're saying at the very beginning. It's a very conservative woman's view of the feminism. What's her name? I'm trying to think her name. Another chick. She's not Catholic. She's not a Christian, but she has the same kind of view.
Phyllis Schlafly.
No. There was somebody who's just current that she's actually doing it. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to remember her name offhand. I've used her several times. So this is like the rise of the red pill woman. They're actually having these views. You have a lot of millennials that are in their late 30s and 40s with these views. You know, even Ebony K. Williams is actually starting to say some of the same things that she's saying.
And so this is like a traditional pushback against, you know, all of the kind of radical ideals, political ideals that have emerged since the 60s.
It's the 60s. Yeah, because at the end of the rainbow, what these women are finding out is that what they were sold is not the reality when they get, especially post 35. Okay.
Can anybody say Kevin Samuels?
The wall is undefeated. Okay.
Undefeated. I mean, because ultimately these women are like, okay, I've achieved so much financially, academically, professionally.
Yeah.
And that should make me be desirable to a man.
Yes.
And it's not that these things aren't valuable, intrinsically valuable. Like, I mean, being educated is intrinsically valuable. Okay. Having a good career is instrumentally valued in the sense that, you know, it allows you the ability to subsist and to even, you know, flourish in Western culture. Okay. But these things by themselves don't make you attractive to a man.
No.
Okay. So it's not the idea that, you know, you being educated is the issue itself. That's not the problem. The problem is excuse me, is that your education is not a passport to a functional relationship with a man. Okay. And the same things that women demand from men are not the same things that men demand from women.
Facts.
Okay. So a man doesn't require a woman to, you know, be uber educated or to have like some off the chain professional career, because oftentimes the man knows that like what the woman earns, she's not going to feel obligated to share anyway.
Yeah, and she's not. That's the problem that they're having. Most women, I would say the vast majority of women, do not want to be what they call breadwinners for the family.
Women don't want to be breadwinners.
No, they don't.
And to the extent that they feel that they are the breadwinner or they make more than their man, they have less respect for the man that they're associated with or in a relationship with.
And that has been the case. They've been researching this for the last, since I say 2010, and that has been the case. And that's why they're saying that only like 16% of women are actually breadwinners of their family, and the other ones that has started out that way actually divorced their husbands. So it's not a long lasting thing. In other words, there are no female Troys out there that actually come in and put their paycheck on the table and let the man use it to run the household. Yeah.
They'll fight you tooth and nail. If they making some money and contributing anything, don't make a choice or a decision without them, because it'll be a problem.
It's a problem. Yeah.
Don't upgrade the cable. If it's a $5 upgrade, what you mean you had that? What was wrong with what the package we had?
Yes, sir.
So, you know, and it creates the conditions for a power struggle.
Yes.
Whereas there really doesn't need to be. Okay. So let's continue.
Overall life satisfaction higher than men did, but now on top of everything, women are not happy.
Yeah, no, and that's, I think, a real motivation to pay attention to this kind of data. I know that's what's driven me, is that we're not seeing happier women. You know, you would think that if feminism was actually doing something good, that women's, you know, happiness metrics would show that, but all the metrics show that women are, you know, through depression, suicide,
More medicated,
substance
you say.
Yeah.
Say it again, white girl.
A lot more medications and not seeing a lot of other rewards and balances. to it.
Did you come up with burogamy?
I did not. Yeah, I did not.
I never heard of that expression, but it makes
No.
perfect sense. And you even go back to the old Obama administration, Julia image.
Yeah, remember Julia?
The replacement of basically the husband by the state.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
That's the idea.
Oh, put the pause on that.
Uncle Sam is baby daddy, huh?
Man. And black men have been dealing with this kind of issue for quite a bit of time.
1961, baby.
What the man has been replaced by the state. And the functions that men have traditionally performed are now basically performed by the state. Which obviates the need for men to actually step up and do the kind of work that intrinsically they would do. Okay.
Are they saying that the United States is a white gynocracy by any chance?
Man, sound like what's being said to me.
All right.
I mean, because at the end of the day, you got to think the promotion of all of these values and this, political ideal, it wouldn't exist without the support of government.
No, can't.
And this is why I've been saying for so long of a period of time that the civil rights movement was really hijacked by white women.
It was. Yep.
And I mean, a lot of these women would like to, I think she makes a different kind of argument, but I think ultimately, any white person who would argue that the United States wasn't exploitative of the labor of black folks, that it wasn't oppressive, meaning that it didn't allow black people to function, flourish, and thrive outside of the context of that exploitation, and that they weren't dominated. I just think you're absolutely delusional if you would try to make that case for black folks.
Yeah.
Okay, as a class of persons. But now when it comes to women, that's an entirely different subject altogether. Okay? And I don't think that you can combine what's happened to black folks with what's happened to women. But it's been done to such an extent that, like, contemporarily, white women are the ones who've basically been able to eat off the plate of the black struggle. So that's just my thoughts and sentiments about it. So let's continue to push.
To men, and that's marriage has become kind of a status symbol for them because it's something just totally unachievable based on how and the direction in which the culture has been going.
Right, and of course it's time for honest women to recognize that feminism has not been the boon for women that it has been presented, though it presented many advances, as we alluded to earlier. Women were told that abortion is consequence-free, that hookup culture, casual sex are normal, and hormonal therapies for birth control or puberty blockers have no side effects. You go on to say feminism has likewise been awful for men, but it has been particularly awful for children, especially children of unmarried parents.
Oh, there.
No,
can you say the Moynihan report?
and Kenneth Clark, the Dark Ghetto.
Yeah, so the idea is that, like, when you take the relationship between men and women out of the picture and you reposition, the family as just being something centered around women and children primarily, then you lose, okay? Women aren't happy with that arrangement, even though they act like they are. Or maybe, pathologically to some extent, I mean, some women are happy with that arrangement because they have a sense of power and control related to that kind of social arrangement. So, but the idea is that, come on, man, like, are women living their best lives? I mean, you see these kind of reaction videos from guys like Fresh and Fit, and there are other people who do these kind of videos, and they talk about women who are just going out there, with high body counts, engaging in wanton sexual activity.
Yeah.
And it's like, are you really living your best life? Are you really actually happy with that kind of lifestyle?
Yeah.
Right? And then what impact is it going to have to your development and your capacity to be involved in a meaningful relationship later on?
Yep.
So shout out to Hurricane Greg, man. Shout out to him. The Gucci Boot Warriors.
Yep. Gucci booted feet. And
Shout out to Dr. Thunder. What's cracking with you, brother? I'm going to give you a bomb just on GP. So let's continue.
You know, the problem is we know that families and we know children do best when there's mother and father. And this is clearly not happening. You also have, you know, these horrible statistics about live-in boyfriends and things like that in terms of...
But you know what's actually occurred in our culture?
What's that?
There's been this propaganda that when men are, particularly black men, who are hyper masculine, who are violent, who are not able to function appropriately within the context of white culture and civilization, what they end up doing is, by their very presence, they end up creating abuse, dysfunction, and all kinds of negative effects.
Right.
So the idea is that. Sorry about that. Hold on for 1 second, man. But talk to him, BGS. I'm sorry.
Well,
it's my father.
All right, go ahead and mute up. We this is something that Clark has talked about, and this is something that Moynihan talked about, and this has been the narrative. Go look at The Color Purple, right? If men practice masculinity, they actually abuse women and children with their so-called, with their so-called inferiority complexes and stuff like that. So, in other words, especially with black men, what they're saying is that the white supremacy is abuses the men, and masculine men actually abuse the women and children because of that. So it's like been filtered through. So if a man is too masculine, go look at Fences in Troy, right? Okay, that was a typical masculine man. He has his flaws, but the thing is, if you look at how people see him as abusive, as this monster, as this non-loving man, even though he took care of his family till the day he died, that didn't count.
And the same thing with like Color Purple.
Color Purple, yep.
You got a man, who is basically positioned or propped up as some sort of monster.
Yeah.
Who, if a man is involved in the family and he has these traditional ideas and values,
right,
then somehow it's going to relate to some sort of abuse.
It's oppressive. You hear women, black women, especially black women, say it all the time. That they actually say it's tantamount to slavery. Okay, I was enslaved by this man, financially enslaved by this man, because I couldn't do better. I couldn't survive by myself.
And then the question really is, man. I mean, like, to be perfectly honest, let's just keep it a bean, man. So 60 to 70% of the black women who have been involved in familial relationships with men, black men in particular, have had horrible experiences such that they've been like dominated and oppressed and subjected to violence and sexual assault. Come on, that's really the portrait we're trying to paint here.
Yeah. Oh, this is a narrative that's been passed down since what, 1950? Okay, that black men are actually abusive patriarchs in their family if you marry them.
Get off without these Negroes. That's
worse than a white man, right?
Worse than the white man.
All right. I think we got to have a little quicker letter here.
Yeah, we need that. Quicker letter, man. Here we go, Mississippi Delta.
Down from the M.I. Crooked letter I. Crooked letter I. Humpback guy. Said, bitch, I'm a demon, just look in my eyes. You don't wanna die. Chopper gon' blow in this motherfucker fire. I told my nigga, let's go and let's ride. Nigga won't play and that motherfucker died. Cause I'm from the M.I. Crooked letter I. Crooked letter I. Humpback guy. Said, bitch, I'm a demon, just look in my eyes. Say, I'm down to ride. Chopper gon' blow in this motherfucker fire. Pussy, you play, motherfucker, you die. That's on the gang and that's on the gas. Pussy, you play, watch that motherfucker ride.
Shout out to Mississippi Delta, man. Appreciate that. And also, we got to give Mr. Man, shout out to Mississippi Delta guy. Appreciate y'all's kind.
I'm from the M.I. Crooked letter I.
Although I didn't mean to run it twice. Okay, but shout out to those, man. Appreciate y'all, man. Okay, so let's just continue, man. Let's see what else we got here.
The sexual abuse
Yeah, well, so many
layers.
times when you hear about abuse in families, it turns
Right.
out it's not a related.
Right.
It's a stepfather or,
Exactly.
or a live-in boyfriend or something like that going
Exactly.
on. Right. You say this book is not about arguing that we should go back to, you know, the 1780s, the 1880s, even the 1950s. Then what are you arguing for?
Well, I think that what I'm arguing for is to get beyond, to reject feminism itself as an ideology, and I don't think that we have to go back to those places. I mean, this is one of the cudgels that you know, invariably we're told we can't be anything other than feminist because we would be going back to something oppressive or awful. But I think society and culture have changed significantly, and it would be incredibly hard to go back to those things. So I think what we have to do is look at who we are using human nature, but also and move forward within that by rejecting what feminism is presenting to us as normal and healthy and happy making.
I thought this was it.
Now, see, this is where I don't think it's a strong enough statement. To be perfectly honest, it's like, okay, well, we can't put the water back in the vessel.
Yeah, right.
And to be perfectly honest, I don't think you can. Okay.
Different environments, so you know you can't.
So women aren't going to be taken out of the workforce anytime soon. They're not going to be taken out of education. They're not going to be taken out of politics. But the question is, like, how do we manage an arranged family life?
Yeah.
In the context of these new kind of social conditions, like women are the ones who are actually going to have to change.
Yeah, but they don't. They see that the onus is always put on the man, especially in the Black community. The onus is put on the men to change or adapt the women to whatever conditions there are. Yeah, but it's not going to work.
Men will only adapt so far.
Yes.
I mean, because Black men take a lot of shit. Okay.
Yes, we do.
We take on a lot of shit, but it's like how far do you want us to go? Okay, Black men, we take on the burden of babysitting, cooking, cleaning, more so than any other group of men.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that doesn't result in an easier relationship with the women that we involve ourselves with. Okay, but according to the perceived wisdom about feminism and like what men aren't doing, what they ought to do, and if they did more, then they would get like a better deal, or they would receive better treatment. I don't think that actually occurs. I don't think that there's any empirical evidence to demonstrate that that's actually the case. Okay?
No, not so far.
So yeah, like Timekeeper said, it results in even more contempt. You know. I remember some chick telling me, because I cleaned up, okay? And she was like, damn, you clean up more than I do. Well,
and in other words, you need to get rid of that woman, okay?
Right. Like, damn, you complaining because I'm cleaning up? Like, who the fuck does that? You know what I'm saying? I don't get it, man. But it is what it is, man. You damned if you do, you damned if you don't. Okay? If you're making all the money and you're in control and you're doing what traditionally a man is supposed to do, then you're the patriarchy.
Yeah.
If you're not doing that, then you're a beta man.
Yes.
So like, it's a catch-22. You can't win one way or the other. Okay? But let me push.
You said I didn't know what I was going to find when I started researching things, and I thought this was an interesting. You said I thought feminism had been co-opted at some point, but what you really found is it's been this way ultimately from its early beginnings.
Almost from the very beginning, yeah, exactly. And that was shocking to me. I mean, I think over and over again we hear, especially among conservatives, that there really was this major break in the 1960s, and the Marxists took it over, and yes, all that's true, but there were serious problems from the very beginning.
Right. You say,
and let me stop here. I know I'm stopping this a lot, but I think what she's trying to allude to is the fact that there are some people who talk about the first wave of feminism, and they say, okay, it was just basically about women trying to achieve or attain suffrage.
Yes.
And it was okay at that point, but it became radicalized in the 60s during the second wave when Betty Friedan took over, and it became more, about male bashing, whereas prior it was less about that. And I think what she's trying to articulate is that the seeds of the male bashing were there at the inception of the ideology.
Oh yeah, back in the 18th century. Yeah.
So I mean, just let's see what she has to say about it.
Root is its misdiagnosis of what ails women. What do they think the problem is? What do you think the actual problem
They think the
is?
problem is fertility in children and men. So anything that pulls away from this notion of a independent woman is the problem in their vision. And I think obviously that's not the problem. I think the problem is striving towards that ideal of independent womanhood, which we know is really a myth.
Now, you say the book is divided into 4 parts. You kind of mentioned the first part. Part 1.
Let me stop there. So what are the problems? Children, their fertility, they're conditioned naturally in terms of how they're connected to the process of
Reproduction.
bearing children and men.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, motherfucker, like, you are a woman. This is what you have been given through the process of either nature. I mean, you can put it in a religious context. It's what you are.
Yeah.
But it's a rejection of that in favor of, or, the preference is given to the artificial or the social life as opposed to the natural.
In other words, basically, this is the ultimate negative liberty.
I think so. It's like nature can't impose its constraints upon me.
Right.
And society and the relationship between men and women is not going to impose its constraints upon me.
Right.
However, my viewpoint on it is, why y'all all so corporatist then? Like, why is your success all related to the market? I don't see how, like, this. I don't think that the individual's complete fulfillment inheres in just, being successful in the market. That's just my viewpoint. But
they want every freedom except the freedom to fail.
Shit, man. God damn, man. God damn. But let's push on, man. Let's see what you got to say.
Explores the early development of feminism into its contemporary iteration. I mean, it goes back to like 1780s or something you're talking about here, way past what most of us would think of. Were you surprised it went back that far?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I had no idea that the earliest seeds were there. And then, of course, as I get into later in the book, just the connection with Mary Wollstonecraft and then her son-in-law, whom she never met. He married her daughter, the daughter Mary Godwin Shelley, of Mary Wollstonecraft, who she's wrote Frankenstein, of course. Right. Just the what came out of that immediate family in terms of the feminist movement and what kind of the seeds of it was really fascinating.
Out of the dysfunction of the family and the relationships with her husband and then Lord Byron, which you go into, etc. It seems like they created their own Frankenstein in another way.
I think you're right.
That we're dealing with. In part 2, you move on to the way feminism became identifying narrative for Western women. How did that happen?
Well, much of it was because it sort of joined in arms with Marxism, and part of it was the incredible manipulative work of Betty Friedan in her book *The Feminine Mystique*, where she hid the fact that she was a communist.
Right, that was interesting. That she had been involved with organizing and things like
for
that.
years,
and she acted like she had no background at all. She just came to this on her own, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's really where you see the kind of manipulation that she's using. She's using tactics like, this victim mentality of, the women that are locked in their, what she calls the comfortable concentration camps. So she's very powerful in reaching sort of the feminine mind and making women believe that they really were oppressed by these things that are largely part of the Marxist agenda.
In part 3.
Hey, look, I'm not a Marxist, but I think like just the denunciation of Marxism without an explanation to me, it's anti-intellectual if you ask me.
Right.
However, I do think that she's correct that Betty Friedan did kind of marry Marxism with the female condition. So, the women are the proletariat, all of them, and men are the bourgeoisie. And, there has to be pushback against this because, I mean, look, face it, man. White women were colonialists. They were supporters of segregation and Jim Crow. Mm-hmm. They were slave owners. And how all of a sudden they become victims with, like a blink of an eye. It's like, voila, now we're victims. It's just, to me, it's absurd that people would sign on to this, but this is where we are. Okay.
He explains how the women's movement led directly to gay rights and now trans movements. How did one lead to the other?
Yeah. Well, the first step was really just to make men, like the Marxists, the Marxists initially were focused on class, and those landowners were oppressing the proletariats, the poor.
Right.
So what feminism did was to shift that, and it made men the oppressors and women are the victims. Well, then you have the LGBT movement that sees that's great opportunity in. It was actually just the L and the B at that point, but or I'm sorry, the L and the G. But they see this incredible opportunity of making themselves victims, and so heterosexual people then become the oppressors and homophobic and whatnot.
Yeah,
so,
a little bit.
This is why I say women ate off the black struggle, because I mean, this is why I always try to demonstrate that racism and sexism are not the functional equivalent of one another. They just aren't. Like, white women were not transported like sardines or slave ships, forced on plantations to work from sea to can't see, and, subjected to branding and, put in a condition to where, they were, not even acknowledged as being human. It just didn't happen for them, okay? But it happened for us. But ultimately, they positioned themselves as a group of people who were just as oppressed, if not more oppressed, than black men or out-group men.
And magic Gucci boots. Huh?
And that's where the distortion lies in my eyes. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Straight up lies, not even distortion. Straight up lies. Yeah.
And then to argue that all men are privileged and to try to get all women to sign on to this, it's anachronistic. It's ahistorical. Okay, so that's just my word on it.
Being the civil rights movement and stuff like that out of the 60s.
It's the exact same pattern.
That's why they call it human rights. Everything was about human rights. Right?
Yep, exactly. So it was just piggybacking on all of that and using the exact same sort of categories that, of course, have led us to critical theory and critical race theory and what we're seeing in the woke culture now.
Right, and in part 4 identifies the broader ramifications of feminism. You say the book examines several philosophical threads that comprise many of the ideologies discussed here. An ideology often starts with the idea of one philosopher and then becomes like a brand. So is feminism an ideology now?
Oh, I think it's been an ideology from almost the beginning. So, no, absolutely. It was definitely a set of ideas that I think we can sort of pinpoint and see how they've been echoed or recycled over and over and over again, from the 1790s up to even the Barbie movie. It's kind of the same pattern.
Right. You also talk about, and one of the things that you discovered and you looked into dealing with, Katie Stanton, and those people, the feminists of that time, and the spiritualism connection that was there. Were you surprised by that?
Oh, I was absolutely surprised by it. I had no idea that there was sort of this connection to the occult and to mediums and seances and all of that with the Seneca Falls Convention. And then later on, in Elizabeth Cady Stanton's work, I mean, she's very clearly anti-Christian. She was raised a Calvinist and rejected her faith, and then what she was really trying to do was undermine Christianity. She wrote this book called The Woman's Bible, and and it has all these ideas about how do we reread Genesis in this very occultish kind of way.
It was a book that
I must admit, I wasn't aware of any of this. Okay, I had no knowledge of any of this.
You?
Man, I didn't know that they were practicing spiritualism.
Oh yeah,
I didn't know. I didn't know that she wrote a woman's Bible. I didn't know that she was trying to reinterpret Genesis. Especially the women from the suffragette movement. I didn't know this. Okay? I didn't pay attention to this.
They were heavy into the occult. They were heavily into the occult. But most of the elite actually really work, for the most part. So that's not unusual.
Yeah, but I had no idea that that's what they were, were about. as intensely as she's, you know, articulating that they were. I just, you know, something I overlooked. So let's hear more.
It was written historically so men could dominate women, basically, kind of.
Right. So
that's
wants,
what she was going against. She said
right.
that's what the Bible was.
Right. So she rewrites it, of course, and
right.
you know, Eve is given an opportunity. I mean, here she's taking ideas again from Percy Shelley, things that he had
right.
developed, you know, 60, 50 years prior. And how do we see Eve as given this opportunity right. by Satan instead of it being somehow, you know, a temptation?
Right. And in her life, her own struggle against parental authority now became a struggle to please that authority. She knew how desperately he wanted a son.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so her father and...
That was with her father.
And
right.
because her oldest brother had actually passed away. And
right.
so there was this desire to see her sort of fill his shoes that, you know, she felt obligated to do and to prove herself. And so she kept rubbing up against things that were limiting that. And that was really, you know, one of the sources of her
I say here, among the spiritualist church, so-called, the Methodist writer noted that women are the high priests in the scriptural teachings in regard to the relation of men and women, and their duties are reversed.
Yeah,
so it kind of fit into that, again, power.
Power, and we don't need priests or ministers. We don't need men when you've got the spiritualism, because it's the women who are largely doing the seances and orchestrating everything, and men are not necessary at all.
Right. And the next thing,
I must admit, I've never fucked around with any occult anything. I never played with Ouija boards. I never, you know, tried to conduct seances. I never tried to reach out to spirits from beyond the veil or anything like that. That's some crazy shit to me. I'm not. Look, I was raised as a Catholic, okay? I went to a Catholic grade school, high school, college, and a graduate school, okay? But it's not that I'm hyper religious, but it's like, come on, man. Like, what are you hoping to find out there? Like, fucking, what are you looking to gain access to? Okay? I don't get it, man. But anyway, shout out to Gary Birch. Appreciate the donation, son. Appreciate that. And not that I'm a firm believer in, you know, like demons and shit like this. But, you know, it's like, come on, man. Like, what are you actually looking for? It just seems like some silly shit to me, if you ask me. But, okay, well.
You've got Madame Blavatsky and the Theosophy. The Bible, according to the Theosophy, was not a design text, but a historic one that propped up men's oppression to women. Yeah. And that's where the Women's Bible comes in as well. You say, like Shelley before, Stanton doesn't debunk the Christian myth of the fall. She creates a new counter myth.
Yeah, exactly. So they had to go back to the very beginning and sort of rewrite things so that it could follow what they wanted, what they were presenting in the movement.
Right. Why did you relate Betty Friedan to the caveman lawyer character from Saturday Night Live?
Oh, goodness.
Was there a connection in your
Very
mind?
obscure. Well, you know, part of this book, I wanted it to be readable, and I wanted people to be able to see things in their real life that sort of applied to it instead of it being overly academic. But yeah, so there's this skit called Caveman Lawyer back in, I think it was in the 80s. And he would show up in this suit and explain how he had been thawed from, you know, this crevasse that he had been frozen in for, you know, 100,000 years or something insane like that. But he would be in a suit and he would be able to win every argument that he made in court. He was a trial lawyer because everybody loved his story and found it so compelling. And surely a caveman thawed from the, you know, frosty tundra would not tell a lie. So I kind of likened that Betty Friedan to that, because she's presenting herself as this sort of very innocent housewife that didn't really even think about, you know, women's issues until the 1950s. And of course, there's so much evidence that she was clearly thinking about communist issues. And we can see that in her work. It's, you know, very apparent. There's references to it in the feminist.
And very Alinsky-like in the way she dealt with many of those things.
Exactly.
You say main point here, and this is in the section on Betty Friedan, echoing Marx and Engels' model of motherhood, was that women would only truly be free when they entered the paid workforce, which is also why in the Soviet Union they made abortion legal. It wasn't to free women; it was free women up to stay at work at the factory.
Facts.
Now that, hey man, I'm not. What better way to get women to work than to absolve them the responsibility associated with motherhood?
Yep.
Get your ass to work.
Yep.
But to not make it seem like it's something that's cutting them off from their nature, but to make it seem like it's a form of empowerment for you to go get exploited.
Or freedom, yeah. In other words, make your own money and practice the same freedoms that men do.
I just, the right to be exploited by a corporation or a factory or, you know, I don't get that shit. I don't understand it. But this is where we are in America specifically, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You say in 1975, the more strident Simone de Beauvoir, in an interview with Friedan, took this argument to a step further, said, no woman should be authorized to stay at home and raise her children.
Wow.
Society should be different. Women should not have that choice precisely because if there is such a choice, too many women will make that one.
Yeah, too many will want to.
That's some crazy shit right there, man.
Yeah, but what do you hear feminists push for? More state-sponsored child care, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Or a remuneration of household duties.
Yeah, that's the second. That's the fallback. You know, in case you can't exercise that, that duty. But the thing is, most socialist countries, and most countries that lean socialist, actually promote state-sponsored child care, so the mother can work.
Get your ass out there and get it.
Yeah, yep. Bring that check home.
Stay home.
So now we've got to force people to do things they don't want to do for their good, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
but this is again Friedan's genius because she found ways to make women want to do it because she made it attractive. She made it feel like, you know, home is a comfortable concentration camp, and the workplace is really where you're free and you're making money and you're, you know, and all of the media went along with this at the same time. I mean, television is sort of this new thing. You've got these very attractive women. They're all dressed beautifully. They're very articulate. Right. And so this is, I think it's fascinating to look at just all of these dynamics, how they work together to present this model and make the home
Would you think
place.
also those people are...
Shout out to PK Angel, man. Shout out. Shout out to him for the $10 holler, man. Appreciate that, bro. Yeah, that's what I was going to also say. Cosmopolitan, you know, the magazine. It kind of like, in the same way that Playboy kind of promoted a certain kind of lifestyle for men or elite men, something similar was occurring, you know, with women, you know, especially with Cosmopolitan. It's like, I forget the name of that TV show, but it's like an embodiment, Sex and the City, that's it.
Sex and the City, yeah.
It's like an embodiment of the values associated with like living a sexually free lifestyle, working, and also the black equivalent of that is like living single.
That's true. You know what Sex and the City was actually based on, right?
What's that?
4 gay men.
Really?
Yes.
Get the fuck out of here, VGS, man.
I'll find it for you. Yeah, based on 4 gay men.
What?
Yes.
Man, that's crazy, bro.
I'll find it for you. We can actually do a show on it, but I'll actually find it for you because
now that would be uber interesting to do a show about. Uber. Shout out to Eon, man. Appreciate that $5 holler, my dude. Appreciate you, bro. Straight up. Shout out to him, man. Shout out to Ian, man.
We got the bombs working tonight, huh?
Yeah, we got them going tonight. I turned off that video, man. That video is taking up a lot of upload.
Okay.
You know, taking up a lot of upload bandwidth. But having said all that, let's keep pushing, man. We got like maybe about 8 minutes to this.
Living that lifestyle in such a way, and they need the justification for these things because those other issues, home, family, these kinds of things, abortion, are things that impact them. And we're learning, I mean, a lot now from the glory days of Hollywood of how many, you know, famous female stars had abortions forced upon them, including Marilyn Monroe multiple times. Because you can't get pregnant. We can't allow that. You talk about Kate Millett and kind of our own cultural revolution going on here by destroying the American patriarchy. How do we destroy the American patriarchy? By destroying the American family.
Yeah, no, that was the key. I mean, this is at the heart, really, of the movement for so long was that goal of how do we get rid of the family? How do we break that taboo? How do we restructure society completely into our own imagining?
And Millette was very intelligent.
Yeah. Oh, she's brilliant.
But but she ended up.
Well, she was also mentally ill.
Issues, right?
Yeah. Her sister Mallory Millett has been doing a great job of telling the real story behind Kate Millett. But yeah, she was mentally ill, and large portion of her work is really focused on this idea of mental illness and what do we do with them and whatnot. But yeah, she absolutely was driven and motivated by this breaking taboos and just destroying society on so many different levels.
Say Millett offered the academic justification for feminism and became the backbone of women's studies programs nationally.
Yeah.
We're living with those now.
Yep.
That was featured on Time magazine's cover. Millett was a huge advocate for abortion on demand. Her vision of equality, and her view, having an abortion became something of a badge of honor long before women today made the same argument. Abortion was the primary way to equalize women in her mind.
Yeah, and she made the case that men. This was during the Vietnam War. Men were in Vietnam were shooting innocent people, so women had to be just as strong and kill their own children. Was something that she actually argued for. As
Whoa, man, slow up with that one, man. Are you serious, man? I'm so okay. What?
Even Craig don't believe that shit. Huh?
Man, like, huh? That's a strong claim, man. So I'm just like I'm rubbing my eyes on that one, man.
Well, you got to, since she's Catholic and religious, you have to take some of this with a grain of salt.
Yeah, man. But I mean, I would have to see the arguments, okay? I would have to see the arguments, but good God, man! So because men can kill people in Vietnam, so like women ought to be able to kill their babies. That's an extreme position to take.
Yeah, it's very extreme.
I had to see that for myself. That's a bold claim. So anyway,
positive thing, but yeah, she saw again. The fertility is the real issue. Children are the real problem that needs to be solved.
And remember the movie Alien?
Yeah.
Did you ever think that movie was about women and childbirth?
It didn't occur to me at the time. It never occurred to me about that. No.
There is a feminist that I know that had a conversation with me.
Okay.
And we were, walking around a public park, just going back and forth, like shooting ideas off each other. Right. And she said that like the movie Alien is emblematic of the kind of intrusion that a fetus has on a female body.
Talking about Alien, was it Alien 2 or Alien 3?
No, I'm talking about the movie with Sigourney Weaver, the first one.
Oh, okay, with the insertion of the whatchamacallit into the body.
So it's like this creature invades her body, and it's like a succubus feeding off of it.
And it kills you in the end. Yeah. Okay. All right.
And look, Donnie Mac says yes. Alien is based off the horrors of childbirth. I'm like, wow.
Yeah,
he said the whole franchise. I never perceived.
I never grasped that. The authors that actually wrote it never said anything about that, because it was actually a man that wrote it. But actually, the original Ripley was supposed to be a man. Okay.
Wow.
So
wow.
But they suggested either way. But I never saw. Maybe I have to go back and listen to them again, because I've been listening to them talk about aliens for a long time. I never heard that from the authors.
I've never heard it either. So I'm just putting it out there. If anybody has more information about that, but I know this for a fact, that there are feminists who are interpreting that movie, in that way.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I was like, damn. Do you perceive? And I'm not saying that childbirth is not a labor. We already didn't. That's why they call it a labor. Okay, we already know that it's difficult. It can result in death for women, to give birth to children.
Yeah.
Okay. But Jesus Christ, bro.
Yeah, but there's many species that do the same thing to other insects, right? That lay eggs in their host. Okay. So
Right, right.
that's not unusual. It doesn't have to be necessarily childbirth. But the most aliens, most insect species, they actually invade and actually plant their eggs in other insects. So
That's crazy, man. Shout out to Edward Anderson. Shout out to that brother, man. Shout out to him. I'm gonna give him a bomb on GP. Shout out to Ed, man. What's cracking with you, Ed?
yep.
So anyway, let's look at some more of this. We're almost at the close of it.
You also, I think you find this in different people's stories, but in an effort to free themselves from men, Millett and others put lesbianism on a high pedestal. And one of the main goals of many of the second wave feminists was to erase gender differences altogether. So that's what we're seeing, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, it all started then. It was one of their stated goals, and it just never end. I mean, this is why we're seeing in the trans movement sort of this infighting with feminists, because there's feminists who are like, wait a minute, I thought this was supposed to be about promoting women, and the other feminists are saying, no, this is about whoever feels like a woman, kind of, you know. So there's, it's the ideology sort of battling itself, because both are threads within the movement.
The turf versus the red
in and
family.
out of mental institutions.
Right.
Shout out to Dave Chappelle.
Make more laws. What do you mean?
Yeah. Well, I think broken people break other people. I mean, we can see that in our lives.
Say it again, white girl. Broken people break other people. Or they want other people to be so dialed into their brokenness that they would explode systems related to their own experiences. So because I'm experiencing some phenomena, you have to fucking understand my point of view and alter society. You have to commiserate and empathize with what I want from the world because I'm undergoing X, Y, or Z. And to me, that's like the epitome of selfishness. You know, like restructure the world around my pathology or my enemy.
Yeah.
Or my, negative circumstances.
You know, remake the world with the Dragon Reborn, right?
Man. Again, shout out, man, to what we're doing, man. If you haven't seen it yet, man, go to StreamYard and watch the reaction videos we do of the series called The Wheel of Time. It's a story that explores issues related to men and women and gender, and I think you'll find it interesting. But having said all that, let's get back to the regularly scheduled program.
The beauty of confession and what the church offers us, but we see this very clearly in the movement. You were just referring to Marilyn Monroe and all the brokenness that happens there, but those kinds of celebrities influence other celebrities and influence the regular woman on the street, and it just leads to just this ripple effect of the domino effect of thinking these awful things that are being promoted are in fact okay and will be helpful.
Now, was Gloria Steinem, or is she a mean girl?
Oh, I think she's a mean girl. Yeah, I think Gloria sort of kicks off the mean girl movement with respect to the fact that was so savvy and so skilled at being able to sway people and make her own arguments, and she still.
You mean the ghostwriter of the Black Macho? Uh-oh! Let me stop though, man. That's a hyperbolic claim, so I'm
It's very petty, Doc. Very petty.
Yeah, it's petty. You know what I'm saying? That is some petty shit. So I take that one back. Okay.
Doing it.
Right.
She's still
sitting on the Phil Donahue show, right?
Yeah, remember?
Or something.
Right.
Oh, I remember.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, she said, without abortion, women's future will be over. Women are much more risk averse than men, so tapping into the fear of bodily harm or vulnerability is highly effective.
Yeah, right. Make women independent. Yeah,
Don't take my rights away. I need these rights. I need these protections.
I gotta be like a man. Right.
Gotta be like a man.
Vulnerable.
Be like a man.
It's a scary thing, but it's amazing how effective it has been and how the left has used it so well.
Right. She was another person who had some interesting relationships with her father, as I recall. Steinem.
Yeah, absolutely. And her mother, who was mentally ill, also a theosophist. She had been a practicing theosophist.
Well, you mentioned Wiccan and stuff, and that kind of New Agey stuff in there as well. And this having to do with abortion. A feminist activist in Mexico just confessed that we inflated the figures of a number of women who were dying from botched abortions in order to decriminalize it. We said it was 100,000 when that was the total who had died, period.
Yeah, no, that number, I mean, we know, remember Bernard Nathan confessed to doing the same thing, exactly.
Well, they do it today where they come up with numbers and statistics and there's no background except somebody goes back and finds out somebody made it up one day. You know, you talk about the tribe. The success of feminism can be seen in a women's general fear of appearing to be out of step with other women. Is there a lot of social pressure?
Oh, absolutely.
Like that?
Yeah, no, I think absolutely. You can see, I mean, this is what's behind the idea of all the young girls that are transitioning. You know, back in the day, it was anorexia. You know, there's sort of, we can see these patterns where young girls sort of feel like, oh, this is what the cool girls are doing. And, you know, previously, girls, you know, it's like all the girls are going to the bathroom at the same time. You know, it's just sort of these patterns of how we operate and relate to one another. And so you can see that feminism has used to its advantage that kind of pull and that kind of sense of we have to be like other women. I mean, fashion
a little bit of a
another,
group think.
Yeah, I mean,
being independently part of the group.
Yeah, so I think fashion is probably the best example of that in terms of what we're wearing.
Just before we end, in the section chapter 8, patriarchy.
I want to say this. I don't think that women in particular are susceptible to convergence. I just think the principle of convergence is a principle that is operative in the human and animal species.
Especially with women, yeah.
But it definitely is something that women, you know, are susceptible to. I mean, think about like the shit that women are doing today. Like 10 years ago, like women wearing them fucking cum blocker eyelashes, you never saw that shit. Now all of them got them, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's fucking terrible, man. I hate seeing the shit. Or the plainly false, like the weaves and shit that look like wigs. Come on, man. Like it's terrible looking.
Yeah.
But they're all doing it. Like they're all doing it.
Yeah. They're all just like the peers get in sync. They get in sync the same way.
Man, it's crazy.
Smashing. Today, the mantra has changed slightly. Not only are we as good as men, we are in fact better at being men than they are. So many commercials and ads directed at women confirm this.
Man, and that's, look, I don't want to bring this up, but I'll bring it up anyway, right? Like, so one of the things that like the ancient Western tradition pushed was, especially for somebody like Plato, okay, it's like every group of people should be doing what they do best and contributing towards the flourishing of the whole, okay? Classes of persons are different, and I think that like Plato even himself though didn't like create gender differences. He basically said if a woman can do what a man can do, then the woman ought to be doing it, okay?
Right.
But what he did say was, look, women aren't as strong as men. So, I mean, they can play a support role, but some women do have more brave characters than men because there's going to be some female brave, you know, some people who are female who are brave, and it's going to be some male cowards, okay? It just is what it is, okay? That's just how character flows through our populations of persons. Right. But one thing he did say was, if you're good at something or if something is fit to your nature, you ought to be doing it. You ought not try to interfere with the operation of others in their, you know, performance of functions. But it seems like now it's like everything is in flux. It's like everybody does everything. There is nothing that you do that's good related to you or in accordance with your nature. But women reject their nature. It's like, fuck kids. You know, fuck husbands, fuck family life. The most important thing is this corporate life and me going to fuck who I want to when I want. Like OnlyFans. That's the model now. That's the come up now. Objectifying my body, but getting mad when men objectify it. But I'm making this cash, this paper, this money. That's all. The bag is the only thing that matters. Or a corporate or a professional title is the only thing that matters.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Status and resources.
Status and resources, which is traditionally some male shit.
Yeah.
But men, when they get resources, they invest them into family life.
Yeah.
Not just children, but women as well as children. When women get resources, they don't invest them into men.
No, their children and themselves.
And their friends. Okay? They'll buy their friends a whole bunch of bullshit, but they won't buy you shit, but they'll buy their friends. They'll get their friends appreciation letters and shit, congratulations and shit, over the most minute bullshit. Mm-hmm. Let you accomplish a goal, them motherfuckers will be like, Nick, so you got an extra certificate. Why are you getting so many certificates? Why are you achieving so much? But you know, hey, man, it's always Jerome's fault, man. It's always Jerome's fault. We almost done. This ain't got more than like a minute now.
Us. Clean up a mess, make a meal, purchase a new car. Now, if the guy's gay, he might be okay.
Adept. Yeah.
But if he's normal or somehow comes across as a Christian, he's probably really an axe murderer.
Probably.
At least in the story.
Yeah.
We saw that Gloria Steinem and others zeroed on women's emotions and heartstrings, often short-circuiting reason or logic. They play on women's natural empathy, right?
Oh, absolutely. Empathy and, the Barbie movie I think is a great example because there's some tender moments in that Barbie movie. So that's how they get us to be engaged in something, but kind of working around our reason through those.
Right, and there's so much more. And you got Margaret Sanger, other things in here. We just don't have time. There's a lot of information in this book. How long did it take you to write it?
From start to finish, probably about 4 or 5 months. I kind of had some of it in mind already, but it was a
when
pretty
do you
quick
write?
turnout.
You've got
we just squeezed
like
it in.
5 kids,
I have an amazing husband. He actually took over dinner for me while I was writing it, and I don't think I've taken it back yet. Right. But in any event, we squeezed it
Do you have another book in the works? Or?
I don't.
No?
Just busy with this one, and we'll see. But I'm kind of booked out for a while.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure having you here. The End of Woman: How Smashing the Patriarchy Has Destroyed Us by Carrie Gress. Highly recommended. Check it out through our EWTN religious catalog, EWTNRC.com. I'm Doug Keck. Join us next time right here on Bookmark. Thanks.
And out.
All right.
So if there's anybody who wants to, we'll give 20 minutes for commentary on this, and then we out of here. Now, BGS, if you don't want to be involved in this because you got some other things you want to do, you can go ahead.
I got 20 minutes, so. Yeah,
we're gonna. I'm gonna leave the invite link in the chat. We only going for 20 minutes. We're gonna go for 20 for the 20 piece. And let me shout out, man, Maurice November and Inspired Sentinel and Corbett Goodwin. Appreciate y'all, man, for the cash apps. Damn, it wouldn't even. Hold on, I'm trying to put it out there. You might have to put the link out there, BGS. I don't know why I wouldn't. Or is it coming up now?
It's going up, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Now, I wonder where Maggie is, because Maggie had a lot to say.
Yeah, for sure. We know, Ed, man, we'll give you, some preferential treatment here, man, if you want to come in and say something real quick. Ain't nobody really hitting up to.
I think they're in agreement with her quite a bit. So, yeah, I have to read the book and see what else she says, but things so far. I mean, there's a couple little niggling things, but what she said about lesbianism, that goes back to your Combahee River discussion.
Yeah, I mean, these women want to displace men. So if men are the source of evil and pain and oppression and domination, well, I mean, you have to excise the cancer. And men are the cancer, so the world would be better off without them. I mean, that's the kind of...
They have to be neutered and separated from the one force, or from the one power, okay?
Man. And that's why, it's like the Aes Sedai used to be an order of men and women. Okay,
right.
But after the breaking of the world, then it became an order that was only reigned over by women.
Yeah.
So.
And men taint the one power when they touch it.
Yeah. So, there's a reason for that. At some point, we'll see what that is. But it's interesting, man. It's interesting. What's up, Ian, man? You mad light skinned mother? No, it's good with you, man.
Pretty nigga.
Right. What's up, Ian? Oh man, Ian ain't even chiming in, man. He got his shit.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got
I hear you now, man.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Cool. What's going on? Fellas?
What's happening with you, bro? Shout out to victory. Because the definition of a Pyrrhic victory is you win, but you lose more than what you've won, than what you've gained in the course of winning.
Right.
That the victory comes at such an exorbitant cost that the win is basically cancels out. I mean, the consequences cancel out the win itself. So, and shout out to Salchi, man, for hitting me up on the cash, and Aquatechy as well, man. Appreciate y'all, man. Y'all make life a little bit more rosy, man. y'all make a shit a little bit more jovial out here.
Yeah, you need some money for that heater fund, okay?
Man, I'm about to attend to that shit at the end of this week, man. You know what I'm saying? Because so what ended up happening was they came to the crib and said they was gonna fix the shit for $325.
Yeah.
But then they found out that there was something fucking faulty going on with the gas valve. I was like, okay, well then how much is that gonna cost? The motherfucker said a G. I said, oh.
I'm gonna join you, Elizabeth.
I said, I started grabbing my heart like Fred. Like what? Come on, man! It went from 3 to 13. God damn! But it's gonna be taken care of, man. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Just got to take steps, man, and paces, because it's about to be cold as fucking St. Louis. It's about to be 9, 10 degrees outside. You know what I'm saying? So, but. It is what it is, man. I'm warm now. I can tell you that shit. I'm good. Got these space heaters popping off right now. So, but ain't shit better than that radiator heat, man.
No, not at all.
And that's about to be on and popping by the end of the week. So, yeah, that's what I was thinking, man. I was like, hold on, man. Wait a minute, man. This motherfucker. I looked up the price of gas valves and shit. I'm like, man, damn, man, them motherfuckers anywhere from like $300 to, saying $500-$600, depending on the model of the furnace or whatever the case may be. But look, man, them motherfuckers did put in some work, man, in getting my gas lines set up. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't too mad at them. You know what I mean? So go ahead and break these motherfucking Negroes off, man. They some black folks, you know what I'm saying? So, black folks like to kick up the price on shit, man. Whether it's liquor or food, whatever the fuck it is, a nigga gonna put a little extra tax on the shit.
Yeah, when you got to give you that little taste, you know how it is. Yeah.
Man.
So what say you, Ian?
Man, shoot, I'm chilling. Just chilling, man. Just trying to keep the peace. That's all. Trying not to snap on no nigga,
Don't do it, man. It ain't even worth it, man. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes these Negroes get under our skin, but at the end of the day, man, fuck it. Let the shit roll off your back. Keep pushing and doing you. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, man, you're responsible, man, for your fate. You're the captain of your faith. You're the captain of your soul. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, man. You know what I'm saying? With other people eating, they ain't making you shit. And at some point, though, I do want to do a show about anti-intellectualism in America, and also in the manosphere.
Oh boy.
And I don't want to, create undue attention to any individuals. I mean, it's just like, but there is a general phenomenon that's been research done on anti-intellectualism and what the causes of it are. Okay. And here's this is something.
It's a rampant disease in the manosphere. But,
well, this is something that I would like to ask a question of people, in general, right? Especially the people who, issue charges against, the quote unquote PhDs or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of guys in this space that say, fuck the community, correct?
Right.
But then on the other hand, they're demanding that people with advanced degrees demonstrate evidence that they've done something for the community.
Yes.
So my question is, how does that work? I'm asking for a friend. I'm asking, the question is, okay, well, I just don't understand how it's possible for you to demand anything of me that you're saying like is already broken and dead anyway. What's the point?
They ain't got no place else to go, man. That's the problem.
So you're not saying fuck the community, because just think about this, man. And this is no attack against any group of people in the manosphere, but there are a group of people in the manosphere who are like, go after yourself, look after you, pay attention to your needs, and fuck everybody else. Do what you can do for yourself. Don't worry about other motherfuckers. Worry about you. But then on the other hand, there's this conversation about what we need to be doing collectively. It's like, well, how the fuck do you want it? Do you want it in such a way that we're doing something together? Or do you want just me to do something for you?
They were raising the gynocracy just like the women were, man. That's why they sound like them.
I'm like, bro, like, I just don't get it. I don't understand how it's possible that you could demand that motherfuckers do something in your behalf, but at the same time, you like, fuck the community. Or fuck everybody else but you and what you got going on and what you're trying to achieve and accomplish. Uh-huh. I'm just asking for a friend. Okay? But anyway, man, I'm gonna let y'all, we got maybe about 10 more minutes to give to a lot to this, and then I'm out of here, man. I'm hungry and I got shit to do.
Hey,
so,
did you look at that article I put in the back chat? My brother sent it to me. I saw some information before on this, but this one is specifically it looks at the Department of Homeland Security, but they are investigating the manosphere and trying to tie us in, or the white manosphere. I'm not sure, tie us into terrorism and so on and so forth. Because I think things are heating up, man. I think we putting the pressure on.
Look, man. At the end of the day, man, we're just expressing our viewpoints. I can hear you, but yeah, you got a lot of background noise going on, so I muted you. So, but my viewpoint on it is, bro, look, man, you can't make men's expression illegal. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you got like videos out here, man, of women saying, kill men now, ask me how. Like literally saying that shit, but like we're terroristic threats. I don't fucking get it. I just don't understand it.
Yeah, man. I was just on Twitter. Somebody sent me something saying that there's this a black preacher talking about killing black women. And I said, that's a psyop. I have never in my life heard a black man in any position talking about killing a black woman.
But this is the reason why I am against the censorship of free speech, especially as it comes from black men. Because I've been trying to explain that we're the ones who are going to get fucking, we're the ones who the scope is going to lie on, okay? At the end of the day. Because the whole system is set up, the community guidelines have been set up by a specific group of people to protect their interests.
Right.
And it doesn't work to your advantage to try to utilize the tactics that they use because they created the game to benefit them, man. And to basically benefit a specific kind of ideology. So now we're a terroristic threat. How do you respond to that shit? This is why I say, stop saying that words and speech create more than what they actually do. Right? And I allow for even like hateful or acerbic speech. I think it should be permitted. Because when you start trying to tell people what they can't say, by default, you're telling people, you're promoting what people ought to be saying. Do you see what I'm saying?
Facts.
When you tell a person what they can't say, you're automatically nudging them to approve of a specific set of ideals and a set of values or things that they are promoting you to say or pushing you to say. And I do not think that that's, I don't think that's the right way to go. That's a good course of action. But this is the typical behavior of the woke left, man. They'll say that like the speech is violent, it'll create some sort of fucking threat to the extent to which it's gonna, impede or, impugn on the safety of people. Like what do you think like the trans persons are doing when they talk about Dave Chappelle in the speech? It's I'm just saying it's extreme, man. You know what I'm saying? It's women do this shit all the time. Oh, you're threatening me. You're making me feel. There are people in the space who are professionals who are actually being, warlock hunted over this bullshit. And then not only that, you got to think, bro. Who's this going to hit most, man? You got women professionals, man, who can call black men trash and all kind of shit, and nothing happens to them. They get applauded for the shit. You call a black woman some trash, see what the fuck will happen to you. That's why niggas got avatars on this motherfucker.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the main reason. Yeah.
That's the reason why a lot of, I ain't gonna say all black men in this space got avatars, but a lot of them got avatars in this motherfucker, and they know the reason why.
Oh yeah, there are people that have been calling people's jobs and stuff like that. So yeah.
Calling a motherfucker job over some shit, a viewpoint on social media.
Oh yeah,
that's what the shit has come to, man.
Just in the past month, not just men but also the women. I've heard that. So
calling us bullet bags and motherfucking dusties and crusties and all kind of shit. Mm-hmm. But the whole point is this sort of conversation has been framed in such a way that it's justified when they do it, but it ain't justified when you do it. That's just the nature of how the fucking system operates, man. Okay? You can call like heterosexual people oppressors and all kind of shit. Let you call some homosexuals oppressive and shit like that. See what happens.
You got a lot of what they call it, rad films and on YouTube. So in the YouTube Papa Girl. There's Maggie. Maggie, how long you been doing your work, Maggie?
Gosh, I think I'm on my 23rd year this year.
Okay.
Okay, nice.
What kind of work is that, Maggie?
I'm a psychotherapist.
Okay. Cool.
You wanted we give you PhD privileges. You wanted to weigh in?
Listen, I get on a little bit of a soapbox when it comes to problematic white women. So circling back to the video, I think we have to look at the indoctrination that occurred even before feminism that white women decided to take a lead on. Like before the Industrial Revolution, people were farming, we were hunter and gatherers. The men and women were at home. They had specific jobs that they did, you know, specific roles that they took in the family, but the whole industrial revolution and the introduction of this extreme oligarchical capitalism that happened, and religious indoctrination was used to assert to women, oh, this is what you want, and this is what you're actually fighting for, and this is how it should work. Men weren't out of the home to work. They were the first ones who were stolen to go work to make other people wealthy. And then feminism was used to say, you know what, we're not making enough money. We got to pull the women out of the house too.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah. So I said this not too long ago. I kind of put forth the idea that there never has been a situation prior to the Industrial Revolution where people had leisure time, especially the elite class, the bourgeois class of persons, where they could just rest on their laurels and not have very much to do, unless, of course, they were members of the nobility. Okay? Everybody had to work, man. If you didn't work, you don't eat. You don't have milk, you don't have butter, you don't have a harvest, you know, to enjoy. And women had a specific set of duties in the household. Men had a certain set of duties related to household work. And they worked in proximity to each other, right? Men were around present with their children as they worked, and children helped to work, right? And it wasn't, of course, it's a different kind of situation when the Industrial Revolution hits, because then you got kids working in factories, which, you know, I don't agree with. So, but I mean, I don't have a problem with kids working on the farm, even though farm work is dangerous. It is, okay? But anyway, having said all that, man, anybody else want to contribute anything? Because I don't want to be doing this too long.
Yeah, you know, I came on to say, you know, obviously you're a certified philosopher, you know, with the complaints that you aren't, you know, the PhDs in the space aren't doing anything is actual blasphemy and displays a lack of intelligence. I mean, me personally, it doesn't make any sense to even acknowledge those individuals. But, you know, being that you are a philosopher and you have, you know, given us opportunities to expand our worldview, where do we move forward from here? Even though I understand that you don't really tell anyone what to do, but I'm still gonna present the question.
I mean, my expertise is not in telling people what they ought to do in their own lives, okay? Like, I mean, exactly. What you can do in terms of enhancing your professional, your social, your financial life, man, do it. I mean, there's so many guides and resources out there to help you accomplish and acquire those tasks. Why would you demand that a man in an online community do that work for you?
Exactly.
I don't get it. And then not only that, it's like, why only a specific set of individuals in the space would you make that requirement and demand of? Why not everybody in the space be required to fulfill those demands? Why just single out one set of individuals within the space and say, well, you haven't demonstrated that you've done X, Y, and Z for the community, and so therefore everything you say is invalid. I mean, anti-intellectualism has a certain set of precepts, and I don't want to get into them now, but one of the precepts is immediate instrumentalism, like immediate usefulness, like right here, right now. Show me that, you know, you can get money. Show me that you're doing something that like provides immediate social utility. And if you can't do it, then what you're saying is useless.
Oh, manifestation?
It's basically tangibles. It's like, show me some tangibles right now. But it's like, dude, why am I required to show you some tangibles when it's all about you? You said fuck the community. You're psychological, or you're an egoist. You're all about your own self-interest. What the fuck do I have to do for you for? What is the moral imperative for me to do anything for anybody when it's all about everybody saving themselves? Fuck the community. fuck pro-black shit. I've heard that said over and over again. Fuck pro. Okay, so if that's the operating understanding, then what the fuck am I required to help you do anything for, or to demonstrate that I'm doing something for you for? Not that I think that way, but it's just a question. Because to me it's incoherent in terms of a value system.
Absolutely. People are just looking for someone to blame.
Man, all this shit, a lot of this shit is clout chasing.
Yes.
And a lot of it is, if you don't think how I think, fuck you.
Yeah.
And I get it. I mean, okay, that's fine. But dude, man, look, I'm not casting my pearls before swine if the swine don't want to fucking see the pearl for what it is. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I mean, and then also there's a choice that everyone has on social media. You can consume certain content, or you can say fuck the content and go off about your business. But a lot of people don't have the capacity to do that. Okay? It's like, damn, why are you constantly harping on people that you disagree with? Fuck it. If you disagree with them, don't fuck with them. Don't listen to what they got to say. Keep pushing and do you. But it's too difficult for some people to do that because then they wouldn't have any content to create themselves. So
Bingo.
There you go.
Yeah, GG.
Yeah.
I had a question for you, man. I just feel like there's never really been a patriarchy in this country. That's why there's been so many civil wars. I mean, if you look at it, this country has never respected authority. I mean, first it was England. They didn't respect the English. Then we had, internal civil wars because everybody in charge made up rules that didn't make sense for everybody, if that makes sense.
I get what you're saying. This is one thing that I think people need to understand about patriarchy is that it isn't a global or a universal kind of structure that benefits every man. Okay, that's never what patriarchy has been about. It is a group of elite men forming kinship and cultural bonds with one another to protect their interests. And sometimes those interests amongst men, they come into conflict with each other. Yep. And when they do,
but if you look at England, they don't have as many civil wars.
That's that's not true. That's not true.
No, I said civil wars.
No, those are civil wars. Yes, sir.
Yes, they do have civil wars, brother.
They do. Yeah.
It's part of human nature.
Yeah.
So they've had the Revolutionary War like here.
Yeah,
they've had the
worse
Civil War. A lot of people died like here.
Yeah, go back. Look at their history. Go back. Look at English history, man.
Yeah, you're going to have to Google that, brother.
Yeah, tons of that. Tons of wars, man. Tons of them.
And so, my thought about patriarchy is that women also they participate in the shit, man. But they act like after the second wave, they act like they put themselves in minority status and act like they weren't part of the fucking colonial segregation and slave-based project. Yeah, and I just think that's absolute bullshit.
I'm so glad you said that, Gigi. I'm so glad you said that.
But I will say this. I will say this to Mercy. There have been many English civil wars. Okay, there were between 1642, 1651. We talking about the 17th century. Okay, you got royalists, the Cavaliers who don't like the Roundheads, who are the parliamentarians, and then you got the royalists and the parliamentarians that fought to the death. Okay, you got the Second English Civil War, the Third English Civil War, and them motherfuckers, man, they fight each other, bro. And then not to mention all the internecine warfare amongst the Germanic tribes themselves. I took a course at CBC Christian Brothers High School, which is the high school I attended. And one of the things we had to read was a book called Western Man.
Yeah.
And I still have that book. And it's chock full of stories about how fucking white boys, man, fucking did each other in.
Yep.
For centuries.
Yeah, for eon, basically. Go back to trace the England or that area of England from the 10th century on, and you'll see tons and tons of wars, man.
But I mean, look, at some point, England reached homeostasis.
Yes.
Okay, in terms of like infighting. Okay, and that definitely tends to happen when you used to be the big shot on the pond, the big fish in the pool, but then you get kicked down to secondary status. Yeah. Like America put the crown in its place, man.
Yeah.
I mean, but if it's money on the line, motherfuckers will fight each other when it's bread on the line, man. Whether they brothers or whatever the case may be. I see brothers and sisters and shit fighting now over shit like
absolutely
fathers and mothers fighting over like inheritances and shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Human nature.
Yeah.
So like when resources become involved, man, like all bets are off, all familial loyalty and all of that shit.
I think the Industrial Revolution would actually stop most of the Northern Europe and especially England's wars because there's too much money to be made outside the country. So.
But they had like changes in their constitution and the way they govern themselves, right? Yeah. So they challenged the divine right of kings. They strengthened the parliament. They had a whole bunch of religious turmoil, and so they ended up taking away power from the Church of England. Yeah. So, I mean, they made some changes that led to some sort of stability in their culture. Right. But, I mean, as it pertained to the civil wars the Civil War in the United States, I mean, this slavery question was like, it was a profound question about the trajectory of the country.
It was funny, man, because I was just reading the articles, right, about that, man. And guess what? 75% of the federal tax was paid by the South.
Damn.
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
Damn.
75%. And that's one thing. Now there was a slavery question, right? But the thing is, there's one thing that South said: if you don't like us, how can we
taking our bread?
75% of the federal government. Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I mean, arguably, I mean, not to say I'm justifying what they did.
No.
But I mean, they're like, shit, this is our resource. This is how we get our bread.
Yeah.
You trying to take it away from us? Or regulate it or constrain it? Motherfucker, no.
Yeah, and that's why
we'll set up our own country.
And that's why I come there to establish Jim Crow once you were free, because you cut off the money.
75% of the tax. Damn.
75%.
Yes.
Yeah, I just read that. And it's out of South Carolina, out of Georgia's secession documents, right? 75% of the tariffs were actually, the taxes were actually paid. Tax receipts had paid by the South. Yeah.
Now, this is not to say I support the South.
No.
I'm not saying I'm endorsing or supporting anything the South did at any point in its history.
Yeah.
But I'm saying I can understand from a distance, an abstract view, why they would like try to preserve their interest.
Yeah. We're coming up on 2 hours, Gigi. You might want to do this again and open up a panel on a more broad, actually have more people talk, because I know time is getting short.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I'm sorry to take up your time, brother. We are going to close.
No. I know you got to go eat, and it's late for you. So.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
so this is what I want to do before I leave, man. I just want to shout out all the people, man, who donated tonight, man. Shout out to Barry Little, Judas Blues, Andre 416. You're up on the panel now. Passport OG, MC Recovery and Relapse, Hurricane Greg, Mississippi Delta. Matter of fact, man, I ain't never done this for Hurricane Greg, but I'm gonna do it. Shout out to him, man.
You ain't shit.
Hey, man, anybody that's ever hit me with 100 piece, they deserve a moniker like that. You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
Shout out to Mr. Heat, man. Ibmore, man, appreciate you. Mississippi Delta guy, appreciate you, man. Gary Birch, PK Angel, man, appreciate you. And also all the people who hit me up. Ian, you hit me up on the Cash App, man. And Salty, you hit me up on the Cash App. Oh, he left. But no, he's there. He's still there. Aquatechy, man. Maurice November, Inspired Sentinel, Corbett Goodwin, Milton Patton, Judas Blues, man. Kalon, man. Thank y'all for the night, man. Y'all make things a little bit easier, man. Might be able to get a pizza or some shit. You know what I'm saying?
I want to ask you one question, Gigi.
Go ahead, brother.
Yes. What year that came out that you were playing today when they had this discussion with the lady?
It's like last year, or 6 months, like 2023. It's not
this
old,
recent. Okay.
Yeah, it's not an old show, bro.
The book just came out.
Yeah,
so,
she mentioned the Barbie movie, so it's that.
Yeah,
it's very recent.
Yeah, recent. Okay.
Very recent.
Yeah, I probably have to do a more deeper dive in this because this is something interesting. It's gonna make its rounds on the internet. Hopefully, Right Man pick it up and do more coverage on this.
Look up Carrie Gress, man. I mean, there was a longer video we were going to examine and go through, but I mean, shit, that motherfucking video is like 2 hours. I cut it down to an hour and 20 minutes. I'm like, bro, we would have been still doing that shit.
Yep.
You know.
I mean, if you do like hour and 20 minutes, that's like half. Half is good enough. I mean, if we wanted to watch it a half.
Yeah. Well, they got to most of the major points in the shorter video. So
yeah, I think it was. Go ahead, Ian.
You know what I wanted to say? I just realized, right? This whole kind of intersectional identity politics that you could be whatever you want and whoever you want. You know what? I think it's supported by elite power structure in the sense, because I be in the reparation spaces and shit, right? Mm-hmm. And what I realized is that the more that since you can't get nothing for free in life, right? Mm-hmm. So if they're giving you the ability to be whatever the fuck you want, that means on the back end they're going to require all of those same minorities to support these fucking white supremacists to be whatever the fuck they want. So essentially what I'm saying is these white supremacists going to be like, okay, us killing you and raping you and enslaving you, we're like you. We're transracial. We're not white supremacists. No. I think that in itself is where we're moving to, because a lot of these minority groups, in a sense, based on my experience, they are against black people's racism, right? Because they're only interested in their own little short-term specified group. And so they're willing to defend me to white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? So I think when it really comes time, when black people are like, okay, give us what we're owed, all these other groups are going to come out the fucking closet and be like, yo, leave the white people alone.
So here's my thing about white folks, man, and like all of this woke shit, right? I think ultimately that they're not trying to change the basic structure of the society in which we live. That's why I go through philosophy and I talk about social and political ideals, because like gay people aren't trying to make like a more fair and equitable society for the poor and the rich. They just want to get married and shit and want to fuck who they want to fuck. And like white women aren't changing the basic structure of the society. They just want more access to corporate life for themselves and to kind of smash the social arrangements where men have input and like are supposed to be, assumed to be leaders in the context of family life. I guess you could say to some degree that's changing the basic structure, but they're not challenging the most powerful and elite forces in the world in which we live. So I'm just like, all of this shit is milquetoast to me, if you ask me. It's just milquetoast.
Yo,
so having said all that, look, I'm about to close this shit off because I'm hungry, man.
Man, but I gotta tell you what I heard though, man. In the space, I was in the space, man. All these motherfuckers, they said that black men, he said, for in terms of reparations, like we really got to buckle down for reparations when Trump and them are trying to get rid of welfare and so on and so forth for black women and children. And then the motherfucker went on to say black men can fucking bounce back from white supremacy and shit. And said, listen, and I'm not, and you know me, I'm the only motherfucker that'll come off the mic like, yo, nigga, you lost your fucking mind. Like, yo, for every fucking black man that fucking bounced back, you got 10 motherfuckers in the grave, right? We are the best and the fucking worst when it comes to the fucking measuring of our progress. So these motherfuckers, man, even in the reparation space, these motherfuckers is all about them fucking selves, man. Yo, this shit is fucking wild as hell.
Look, at the end of the day, you know, like I said before, man, you know, this can't be broken down on this show tonight. But you know, like I've said before, sometimes, man, you can't see the forest for the trees. You can't see the big picture because you're looking at minutia, and you don't really want to pay attention to what's really going on. You just kind of like, you're pissed off, you're emotional, you got your own private interests, your peeves and shit like that, but you're not abstracting away from your own situation and looking at the whole. You're just only seeing a pixel of a film, you know, or of a frame. And I'll talk about the big picture, you know, on another show, but tonight, I'm about to go eat, man. So I love y'all, man. I'm glad to have made this video tonight. Please share. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. If you haven't liked the video, please do. And thank y'all for the support, man. And I'll holler at y'all on the next one, man. On the real though, because it's time for me to get the hell up out of here, man.
Hey.
Right. Appreciate you. One last thing. What was the author of the book you referenced?
Carrie Gress. GRESS CARRIE.
Okay.
Peace, GG. Like I was just saying, I'm here for that next stream.
I'm gonna do it. I mean, you know, like I don't know if it's gonna be the next stream I do, but I will do it because, you know, like it's not something that's unique to the manosphere. It's something that exists writ large in American culture, but it's unique. I'm not gonna say it's uniquely an American phenomenon, but it is rather strong within the context of this nation. It is. So, having said that, bro, I will holler at y'all on the next one, man. It's time for me to go, man. Thank y'all for coming through. God bless you. Like Russell Simmons, you say, God bless you. Good night. Thank you for coming out. Peace out.
Peace.